Hello, and thanks for joining us here on Encore. Coming up on today's film show, sci-fi fantasy, A Wrinkle in Time. Denzel Washington is Roman J. Israel Esquire, and Lara Croft rewinded as the Tomb Raider series gets its own origin story.
We are in search of warriors.
Warriors who serve the good and the light in the universe.
You're kidding.
Do I look like I'm kidding?
I'm going to hold you in contempt if you continue to pursue this.
You're asking me to obey an erroneous court decision. You tell me to wait. In my experience, wait.
Okay, find you in contempt.
What's your name?
Lara
Surname?
Croft.
I'm joined by film critic Emma Jones for this week's new releases. Hi there.
Hello.
Now, we're starting with A Wrinkle in Time, this Disney mega production that's been a long time coming for its fans, almost 50 years, in fact.
Yeah, this is a $100 million blockbuster, which brings the 1962 novel by Madeleine D'Engle to life, finally, as you say. And it is a historic film because it's directed by Ava DuVernay, who made Selma, you might remember.
Indeed.
And she is the first black female filmmaker to be handed a budget of more than $100 million. Now, what does she do with it? Well, the story is quite well known if you're a fan of the book. Young newcomer Storm Reid is playing Meg, and she needs to find her father, played by Chris Pine, who is trapped in time, and she's got to defeat time and space. But
no small
less
task.
of Meg, less of Meg, more of the cameos. And the cameo that everybody must be talking about is Oprah Winfrey. And she is one of a trio of divine mentors who helps Meg on her way to find her dad. She is very much channeling Tina Turner in Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. There is just no other way of putting it.
Not a bad look.
She is hilarious. You know, you will be mesmerised by Oprah, but possibly for all the wrong reasons. And she is joined in this by Mindy Kaling and Reese Witherspoon, also with her own unique look.
OK, well, indeed, here is Reese Witherspoon in action in the film, A Wrinkle in Time. Here's a short clip.
Call me Mrs. Whatsit.
Mrs. Who?
No, Mrs. Whatsit. Mrs. Who is... she's like a billion years older and way more knowledgeable.
What can I do for you, Mrs. What's it?
I called her stealing sheets. Guys, she's harmless.
You're 6. Come on. What do you know about harmless?
Have I ever been wrong?
Well, one of these days you might be Charles Wallace.
Oh, I highly doubt that. He's one of the greatest minds in recent history. He's prodigious. But of course, we can't take any credit for our talents. It's how we use them that counts.
So it has got the star credentials and the budget to carry it along. What about the press reception?
The reviews have been really quite mixed, actually. And though it did well on its opening weekend in the United States, I think it took about 33 million on an opening weekend, which is extremely respectable. Who knows if it's going to be a massive hit? Certainly, we're not talking about Black Panther kind of box office,
Okay.
which has topped $1 billion. Now, it's a question. I'm sure it will make its budget back, but if it's not a big hit, will Ava DuVernay be trusted with another blockbuster? And I truly hope she will, because if you think of the number of male directors who've made Disney live-action flops, let's think about John Carter, anyone, they've been trusted with big budgets again. So I think this is a real test of Hollywood, and is it going to put its money where its mouth is? I think it's really the right time for A Wrinkle in Time to come out. And in fact, let's hear from producer Catherine Hand telling us why it's part of Hollywood's drive for diversity.
There were many times when I was trying to get the movie made and there wasn't a lot of interest of having a movie that the young girl was the center of this journey. And I do think that there was a whole other new generation of executives and filmmakers that grew up. And I think the movie was made finally because it was the right time that people had evolved to make the movie, and I'm just glad that I lived long enough to see it.
And my own opinion, it's very worthy. It's full of lots of virtues, etc. But this is a kids' film. It's Ava DuVernay says it's designed for children between 8 and 14 years old. So let's not be too harsh on it.
OK, for the younger members of the family. Now, we're moving to a film now from writer and director Dan Gilroy, Roman J. Israel Esquire. The title refers to a lawyer played by Denzel Washington. Now, Gilroy made the 2014 film Nightcrawler. Are there echoes of that crime thriller here too?
Yes, very much. And I think the fact that Dan Gilroy made Nightcrawler has enabled him to make this film. You probably remember Nightcrawler got quite a few Oscar nominations, including for Jake Gyllenhaal, who is playing the lead role. And in this film, you're right, he has created yet another anti-hero in Roman J. Israel Esquire. And he's got Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, who is pretty much faultless in everything he ever does, to play the lead role. Denzel Washington is by far the best thing about this film. He plays a Los Angeles attorney definitely stuck in the 1970s, and he's fought the good fight for unwinnable cases, but he's not a likeable man himself. He's quite odd, he's a little bit strange, as you can probably see from this excerpt from the film that we're going to show.
Civil or uncivil disobedience. The First Amendment to protect your right to freedom of speech, as long as you don't incite violence or law breaking. And there are going to be people that get caught up in the march. They're going to vandalize. They're going to... I'm sorry, excuse me. I see two sisters standing. Why are the sisters standing and the brothers sitting?
If we want to sit, we can ask.
Well, you ladies got to speak up for yourselves.
Say 40 years ago.
There's no statute of limitations on chivalry.
That's gendered and sexist.
And polite.
And patronizing.
And polite.
As in Nightcrawler, Gilroy's focus is really on how one character has the potential to be corrupted and spoiled. But unfortunately, just the narrative of the film lets it down. The one reason that you would give for seeing this film is Denzel Washington. Yet again, he gives a masterclass in performance.
OK, no surprises there. Well, next, a film that gives us a very different take on the city of Casablanca. It's a world away from the 1940s Michael Curtis film. Razzia is the latest release from Moroccan filmmaker Nabil Ayouch. He's made a name for himself for his unflinching portrayals of Moroccan society, and I think there's more of that in this film.
Yes, this is a follow-up from Ayouch after Much Loved, which was an uncompromising look at prostitution in Morocco, as you say. And but this film is rather different. It's part homage to Casablanca, but that's the city, not the film. And in no way does this film deserve to be held up in any kind of a mirror to the movie Casablanca at all. So the director weaves together 5 different stories from the 1980s and 2015, and they're ultimately interconnected. So you have stories, for example, the rural school teacher who's forced to give up his position because fundamentalists come in and change the curriculum. You have a Jewish restaurateur who finds it difficult to form relationships when women in the city find out what his religion is. And you also have a very free-spirited woman whose boyfriend is incredibly misogynistic, and she's yearning for a change of life, as this excerpt from the film shows.
Hamla. جزي بخير مرة الجاية إن شاء الله. قلتيها لي؟ شو تديري دابا؟ ما عرفاش.
Now, the central character, the young woman there, is Mariam Touzani, who is actually his co-writer in this. The problem with Razzia is it's too many ideas. All of them put together, all of them as a singular idea are great. Put together, it's way too much. It comes over as a message film, and the message is clearly about the state of Morocco and what he is unhappy with. Unfortunately, there's so little of the characterisation that you can believe in because you don't have enough time to invest in the characters. They're on screen and then he's zipping off to another story. So it's such a shame. It's just slightly spoiled by the fact that he wanted to pack too much into this film.
OK, too ambitious perhaps. Now, finally, we're wrapping up the show with a few explosions and some eye-popping stunts.
As you do.
The legendary Lara Croft is back in an updated version of Tomb Raider, which was hugely successful, first as a video game and then as a film.
Well, we say legendary, don't we? But I think the most legendary thing about the 2001 film was the fact it was actually an action film about a woman. And we were more prone to see pigs flying in those days, 18 years ago or 17 years ago, than seeing a woman on screen helming it, really. And it's 2018 now, and my question is, despite the continuation of the video games, why bring Lara Croft back now? I mean, couldn't Hollywood have actually thought of a new original action heroine? But I do understand why they did it in a way. It's not a brave choice. It's already got box office potential, so I do understand that.
And of course, this time around, actress Alicia Vikander takes on the role that Angelina Jolie played in 2001. They're very big shoes to fill, or maybe very small shorts and a very small vest, wasn't it?
Oh, well, Alicia Vikander, I think, I dare to say, is a better actress than Angelina Jolie. There's a sweetness and a vulnerability to her that I don't think Jolie had in the 2001 version. And there's no doubt, really, that this is going to be Vikander's movie. I mean, she's supported by a great cast, including Kristen Scott Thomas, Dominic West, Daniel Wu. I mean, they've all got their acting chops, but it is all down to Alicia Vikander. And there's no doubt, as you're going to hear from her now, that she gave 110% in training for the role.
The physical aspect was, of course, a lot of hard work and a lot of hours and discipline. But, you know, for me, it's always, you know, the emotional, you know, attachment, getting to know your character and tell it by truth. That's normally the you know, the heaviest work, I think.
Now, as you've mentioned, this is going to be an origin story. It's going to start in London, and we find out the backstory of Lara Croft, what makes her Lara Croft. I think there's a certain amount of snobbery already about the film from people who haven't seen it yet, you know, about a preposterous plot. But let's think of all those 80s action films. For example, all the Indiana Jones films. Those plots were preposterous as well. I think people need to go with Tomb Raider.
OK, so the message is be a bit more indulgent. Emma, thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll leave you with a clip of Tomb Raider. Do remember to check out our website. You can also keep up with Encore on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.